Erdogan wants an Istanbul trial over what he says as a planned Khashoggi murder. In Liberia, more than me students protest school closure. Bolton held very comprehensive and productive talks in Russia. West Virginia Democrat Ojeda hopes to conquer the conservative state. Plus, unlimited sweetness inside and out at this year's Dessert Goals in New York City. Hello everyone, I am Sarah Nachman bringing you stories from around the globe. And this is Eagle News of Washington, D.C. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan on Tuesday called for the trial in Istanbul of the Saudi suspects in the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi, a crime that he said was intricately planned days in advance. Erdogan had promised that his speech in Ankara would give the naked truth about the killing, and he gave a host of new details while still saying Turkey wanted answers to key questions, including who gave the orders. Hours before Erdogan delivered his speech to ruling party lawmakers, a major Saudi investment forum opened in Riyadh under the heavy shadow of the murder after key delegates pulled out. The murder of the Washington Post contributor has damaged the international reputation of Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who has spearheaded a reform drive in the kingdom. Referring to 18 people, including security officials who have already been detained in Riyadh, Erdogan demanded 18 people be tried in Istanbul. He said all those who played a role in the murder had to face punishment. Erdogan said that the murder was planned days in advance according to a roadmap set up by a Saudi team who were sent to Istanbul for the purpose. He said the surveillance system at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul was deactivated on purpose. But Erdogan added he still wanted answers on numerous issues, including who gave orders to the team and where the corpse is.
Öldürüldüğü resmen kabul edilen bir kişinin cesedi niçin hala ortada yok? Siyasi cinayet olduğuna göre şayet varsa diğer ülkelerdeki suç ortaklarının da soruşturmaya dahil edilmesi gerekiyor.
Erdogan did not mention Prince Mohammed by name in the speech, but said he was confident of the full cooperation of his father, Saudi King Salman, in the probe. In Liberia's capital of Monrovia, parents and students from the More Than Me Academy staged a protest in front of the offices of the president. The protesters assembled to counter the numerous calls for the closure of school following the ProPublica documentary on the systematic rape of girls attending the school by the co-founder of the charity that set up the school.
He protect the children. She put trust in him. She trusted him more than anything because he's part of us. And she from different land. So she was not expecting him to do it to her own people. She tried to protect them. But really, it just had to say.
If this school be closed down, which one of the school be waiting right now to take the children in? Because of the stigma and all they own them. Which one of the school be waiting right now to take the children in? There is no other school waiting right now. So the masses are just coming over here to say things what they're not supposed to say. So now when the parents decide to come on the street to advocate for our children right and our children education.
I'm here to tell you on behalf of the young people that we have not reached any decision for them to be put out of school. Our advice to you is for them to go back to school, run your daily activities until we get to a logical conclusion. But no school is going to be closed right now. When the government reaches a certain stage in the investigation where other determination is made, we will inform the public.
Liberian Vice President Jewel Taylor on Tuesday lent her voice to demands for a probe into a U.S. educational charity after girls were raped at a school supposed to save them from a life of sexual exploitation. Last week, the charity More Than Me admitted to major failings and deeply apologized after the scale of the abuse came to light. Taylor said, quote, "I vehemently denounce this act of exploiting our young girls and putting an organization's interest before the lives of our children. I will never condone this act from anyone, be it foreign or domestic. Please allow us to do due diligence." Last week, the U.S. investigative site ProPublica described how girls were systematically raped at a More Than Me academy in Liberia's capital, Monrovia. The charity had founded the school specifically to empower and educate local girls to save them from prostitution and sexual coercion. ProPublica said in a piece co-published with Time, the rapes, some of them perpetrated against children as young as 10, were carried out by the charity's co-founder, Macintosh Johnson, who later died of AIDS. The assaults took place at a school at West Point, a notorious slum in Monrovia. It opened in 2013 to a blaze of publicity, becoming the first of 18 schools that More Than Me opened in the impoverished West African state. ProPublica described Johnson as a charming hustler who insinuated himself with Katie Mailer, who created the charity. She eventually raised more than $8 million in funding, nearly $600,000 of which came from the U.S. government, and gained the support of Liberia's then president and Nobel Peace Laureate Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Coming up, Bolton held very comprehensive and productive talks in Russia. West Virginia Democrat Ojeda hopes to conquer the conservative state. Eagle News Washington, D.C. will be back in a moment.
The machine.
Hi guys, I'm Ariel.
And I'm Kenneth, and we're your new hosts for The Break Room.
So please watch us every Monday at 7:30 to 8 in the evening. We are one with 25.
Agila Balita, Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 12 ng tanghali hanggang 1:00 ng hapon.
Bahay kubo, kahit munti. Kasi dito kompleto, ano po, yung bahay kubo makikita mo na dito.
The harvest in our bahay kubo.
Kung po tiga-tanim, sila tiga-harvest.
Lalo na ngayon mahalang gulay, ma.
Napakalaking advantage niyan kasi anytime na kailangan mo siya, hindi ka na mamamalengke, hindi ka na bibili, wala ka nang babayaran, mamimitas ka na lang at mag-i-enjoy ka pa.
Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News Washington, D.C. U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton on Tuesday praised productive talks with President Vladimir Putin and other Russian officials during a two-day trip to Moscow.
So here in Moscow over the past 2 days, I've had a series of very comprehensive and I think very productive discussions with senior Russian officials.
White House National Security Advisor John Bolton on Monday began 2 days of meetings with Russian officials following Washington's weekend announcement of withdrawal from a Cold War-era nuclear weapons treaty. The Moscow visit by Bolton was planned before the Saturday announcement by President Donald Trump that the U.S. was ditching the 3-decade-old Intermediate-Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, known as the INF, which Moscow has already denounced as dangerous. The treaty was signed in 1987 by then U.S. President Ronald Reagan and Mikhail Gorbachev, the last Soviet leader, who on Sunday said that dropping these agreements shows a lack of wisdom and is a mistake. He insisted that Moscow observed in the strictest way the 3-decade-old Intermediate-Range Nuclear Forces Treaty known as the INF, while accusing Washington of flagrant violations.
But Trump on Saturday claimed Russia had long violated the treaty. The row comes ahead of what is expected to be a second summit between Trump and Putin this year. The Trump administration has complained of Moscow's deployment of Novator 9 and 729 missiles, which Washington says fall under the treaty's ban on missiles that can travel distances of between 310 and 3,400 miles.
Part G.I. Joe, part steadfast advocate for West Virginia's working poor, Richard Ojeda is pursuing the near impossible, flipping one of America's most conservative congressional districts and reclaiming corners of Trump country for Democrats.
Impoverished Appalachia is a culturally conservative bastion on edge, ground zero in an opioid abuse crisis that has devastated families, and where wages are stagnant, healthcare costs are rising, and the coal industry is gasping for air. 2 weeks before midterm elections that will determine which party controls Congress, tough-talking Ojeda is urging voters in West Virginia's 3rd District to swallow a dose of the economic populism he preaches.
They're giving the biggest tax breaks in the history of this nation. They're giving it to the top 1%. And yet right now they're talking about, well, you know what, how are we going to deal with this deficit? I know they're going to cut Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid. That's unacceptable. Why is it always going to be on the backs of the poor to save this country?
Something about the campaign, which he likens to a combat deployment, is resonating. Polls show him narrowly trailing his Republican opponent for the open U.S. House seat, Carol Miller. After 24 years in the military with combat tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, the muscular 47-year-old father pulls no punches when it comes to lambasting Republicans, including Trump, for whom he voted in 2016. Trump, campaigning for Republican foot soldiers during a rally in Wheeling, West Virginia, branded Ojeda stone cold crazy. Ojeda's response, bring it on.
In West Virginia, the average family income is $44,000. So every dime that they make, they pay into Social Security. If you make over $128,000, then it stops. You see what I'm saying? Let's protect that so that these kids here walking down here right now in this college, when they get old enough, they'll have the ability to have Social Security.
But Ojeda reserves his hardest criticism for those in his own party, which had dominated West Virginia politics for decades until Republicans snatched the legislature in 2014. 2 years later, Trump won Ojeda's district by nearly 50% points, among the largest margins in the country.
When we come back, unlimited sweetness inside and out at this year's dessert goals in New York City. Eagle News, Washington, D.C. will return shortly.
Join the EBC Family Fun Run, November 18, 2018, at the Ciudad de Victoria Complex, Bulacan. Choose from race categories: 1.062 kilometer, 2.5 kilometers, 5 kilometers, and 9.55 kilometers. Registration is ongoing. For more details, log on to www.eaglenews.ph/EBC Fun Run or call 784-7450, local 1162. You may also visit www.facebook.com/EBC Fun Run. EBC Family Fun Run.
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced. Eagle News, because we live in interesting times.
Agila Balita, Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 12 ng tanghali hanggang 1:00 ng hapon.
This is Eagle News, Washington, D.C. I am Sarah Nackman. There's definitely unlimited sweetness inside and out at this year's Dessert Goals New York City. Our junior correspondents Jordan and JC Pulintan speak to Dessert Goals vendors and discover their specialties and what motivates them to reach their goals. Take a look.
I'm JC. I'm Jordan Pulintan from New York. Our parents always told us to set goals. And not just set goals, but achieve them. And because we're good girls who always listen to our parents, we're here at Dessert Goals.
Dessert Goals showcases some of the best desserts in New York City. And this time, it's celebrating its 5th run of sweet, colorful, and delicious desserts.
Our mom always says to set high goals and always try to surpass it. So, Jordan, what goals do you want to set today? How many desserts do you think we can try?
Well, she did say to set high goals, so let's try it all. Look, JC, we've seen this cake online. Maybe he can tell us what it is.
How do you make your cake so jiggly?
Oh, our cakes known as like a wiggle wiggle jiggle jiggle cake. When our cake came out from the oven like 5 minutes, like a wiggle wiggle jiggle jiggle. But the why is why our cake jiggle and wiggle. The reason why is our ingredients and our the way how make our cheesecake. It's really unique and special. That's why it's not just regular American cheesecake. That's why it's really wiggle wiggle jiggle jiggle.
Note to self: practice the wiggle wiggle jiggle jiggle at home.
Is that going to be your goal for tomorrow? Let's see who else we can talk to about some desserts.
No, you mean goals. We're here for goals.
How did you start?
Well, I had a cookie business at Cornell University, and when I graduated, I sold it. And then one day, I was with my daughter at a grocery store, and she saw the rainbow bagel, and she just had to have it. And it was really cool, but it didn't taste great. So I knew I had a great recipe for chocolate chip cookies, which is America's #1 dessert. And the big trend in dessert is color, as you know, look all around here. So hundreds and hundreds of cookies later, I figured out how to execute rainbow colors in chocolate chip cookies, and that's how Baked in Color was born.
What did you have at my age that helped you?
Oh, you've got the whole world in front of you. Try to learn something new every single day. Try to meet somebody new every day. Do something exciting every day. Don't sweat the small stuff. And don't get caught up in what other people think, because they're not thinking about you. They're just thinking about themselves. Just do what makes you happy.
Not only was her cookie yummy, but she really gave great advice for accomplishing your goals.
Let's try one more dessert.
My family actually owns and operates this company 100%. We started the company in the 1960s. We launched it at the World's Fair in New York City, right over in Queens.
What goals did your family have to start?
So I think to start, they really just wanted to get an Italian ice that we wanted to get to reach all customers. So it's minimal cost and it has great flavor. It's all natural. We get to reach all different sorts of customers with a really great, affordable product.
Are you just in New York or all around the world?
So as of right now, we are in New York. Our factory is in Queens in Richmond Hill. We do distribute to the tri-state area. We try to, reach as many people as we can. And speaking of goals, one of our big goals is to get online, to be reached, on e-commerce.
And what goals did you have at my age?
Ooh, another tough question. You're killing me. I wanted to succeed in school. I wanted to learn more about my family business. I wanted to take all of the education that I could and just bring it forward in whether it was my family business or my personal goals. I just wanted to learn everything I could. So stay in school, do everything you can to educate yourself as much as possible, and follow your dreams.
That makes total sense. You should study more, JC.
What? Me? Maybe it's time to wrap this up so you can study and work on some of your goals.
So what do you think, Jace? Did we accomplish our goals?
Definitely.
I'm Jordan Pulintan.
I'm JC Pulintan.
From New York, and we are 1 with 25.
Thanks, Jordan and JC. That is today's Eagle News Washington, D.C. Join us tomorrow for stories that matter to you. Visit our website at eaglenews.ph and also eaglenewslive.com. Like us on Facebook. Also follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/Eagle News PH. On behalf of Eagle News Washington, D.C., thank you for watching. I am Sarah Nackman, and I am 1 with 25.